Local news that matters. This is KC24 News Midday.
Good morning. Welcome to KC24 Midday. I'm Joe Muller. We're going to begin with this breaking news. We have an update for you on that shooting spree that happened late last night in Thousand Oaks in Southern California. A man gunned down 12 people, including a Ventura County Sheriff's deputy at the Borderline Bar and Grill.
It was a semi-automatic.
Yeah.
I just heard, 18 to 20 rounds at a time. That's all I heard before I got out.
The gunman is among those who are dead. He has been identified as Ian David Long. The Ventura County Sheriff tells us he was 28 years old and a former Marine. Now, we'll have more on that in just a few moments, but just minutes ago, the body of Ron Helis, the Ventura County Sheriff's Department sergeant who was killed last night, was transported in a procession. The motorcade left Los Robles Hospital at 10 a.m. for the medical examiner's office. People from all over the community came together to honor Sergeant Helis, who was with the department for 29 years. Now, there are so many unanswered questions this morning as this investigation continues. KC24's Fabiola Ramirez is live in Thousand Oaks for us with the very latest. Good morning.
At this hour, investigators are still on scene. FBI as well as other agencies are investigating here outside where the mass shooting happened at Borderline Bar and Grill yesterday around 11 p.m. Right now, we're learning more about the shooter. He has been identified as 28-year-old Ian David Long. Police recover evidence at the scene that led them to his house in Newberry Park, where they are getting a search warrant to search his home as well as the vehicle that he drove here last night when the shooting happened. There is no word on who the victims are at this time, but what we do know is that among them was the Sheriff Deputy Rob Helis. He's a 29-year veteran. As you mentioned, Joe, there was a procession for him earlier today, and Helis was among the first responders to arrive on scene. He was shot when entering the building of where the shooting was happening. He died at the hospital this morning, and such a tragedy and rough moment for law enforcement to not only to lose one of their own, but to know that there are 11 other victims who lost their lives. We are told more than 100 people were inside the bar during the shooting, including many college students who came out to celebrate college country. Now this is an area in Thousand Oaks that is centered to many of the colleges. You got Cal Lutheran as well as CSU Channel Islands and many other colleges around the area where many young people come, anywhere in between their 17, 18, 19-year-olds. People who were inside the building at the time of the shooting did say that it was a mad rush of people running from one place to another, confused, not knowing exactly what was happening. Some breaking windows, trying to jump out. The Ventura County Sheriff said that to reporters and others this morning that it was a horrific scene in there and that there was blood everywhere.
There was heroes inside of there, The patrons were saving people's lives. There was off-duty officers that were putting themselves in front of other people.
Sheriff's deputies are saying it is possible that the shooter knew this was going to be a busy location and he was aware of the weekly events that have been happening here. They have confirmed that the suspect shot himself. He was found dead inside when police arrived, and they found the weapon that he used, which was a handgun that they say he purchased legally. Officials are waiting to search and look through his home as well as that car to get any more information and to link it back, and hoping that will help them better understand the shooter's motive for the attack. We also learned that the shooter is a Marine veteran, so they're investigating to get more information. Now at this point, we're waiting to get any further information on any of the victims. And as you mentioned, that deputy that did pass away during the shooting, he was taken to the hospital, and that's where he passed away. They'd had that procession for him. We're waiting to get any further details, and hopefully by later today we'll start getting more information on those victims. But they of course say they want to inform the family before they let anyone else know about those 12 victims. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Fabiola, for that live report. And as we've been mentioning, Sergeant Ron Helis, here's a photo of him. He was one of those 12 victims who was killed inside of that bar last night. He is a 29-year police veteran on the force. He leaves behind a wife and a son, and authorities have been saying that he was planning to potentially retire within the next year.
I am very emotional right now. This is my firstborn son, and it's tough. Cody is a tough kid. What I'm scared of is Cody went towards the action and not away from the action.
That was Jason Kaufman. He is one of the parents anxiously waiting news this morning about those inside of that bar. His son, 22-year-old Cody, was there with friends and reportedly died in that shooting. Now, dozens of victims were transported to local hospitals, and many family members are still standing by waiting for answers. The nearby teen center in Thousand Oaks was turned into the family assistance location. The pro tem mayor has been there all morning with those families.
Well, the longer that we wait, the more somber it becomes, and it's heavy in there, and there are a lot of sad folks. We've got the FBI victims advocates, we've got the DA victim advocates, we've got Red Cross in there, we've got fire chaplains, sheriff chaplains. I'm a minister as well, and we're just trying to do the best to comfort the families as they have this long wait.
Authorities say it has been and will be a slow and methodical process to notify all those families of those victims. Now, many people at this hour are asking why this shooting happened in the first place. Investigators now looking for a motive here. They say 28-year-old former Marine Ian David Long had been experiencing emotional issues. The sheriff says he was armed with a legally purchased .45 caliber Glock and handgun with an extended magazine. He says Long was known to authorities.
We've had several contacts with Mr. Long over the years, minor events such as a traffic collision. He was a victim of a battery at a local bar in 2015. In April of this year, deputies were called to his house for a subject disturbing. They went to the house, they talked to him. He was somewhat irate, acting a little irrationally. They called out our crisis intervention team, our mental health specialist, who met with him, talked to him, and cleared him, didn't feel that he was qualified to be taken under 5150, and he was left at that scene last April.
And according to NBC News, Long left the Marine Corps in March of 2013 after a 5-year stint. He was a machine gunner during his deployment in Afghanistan. Now, the investigation at this hour moving on to the suspect's house in nearby Newberry Park. Authorities are now looking into the vehicle he drove to the bar and working to look for any answers as to why he would open fire there at that bar. Neighbors say Long kept to himself.
Shock, just messed up.
What can you tell us about his family and people, him living here? How long have they lived here?
At least 10 years. He lived alone with his mother. His mother, she and I were pretty good friends. See her all the time. Hardly ever saw him outside the house.
Did she ever speak about any troubles he was having?
Not to me, she did not.
A lot of unanswered questions. Authorities say the motive for the shooting still unclear at this time. Now moving on to video of the flag being lowered at the White House this morning in memory of the victims of the shooting in Thousand Oaks. The president took to Twitter this morning saying in part, God bless all of the victims and families of the victims. Thank you to law enforcement. You can stay with us here on KC24 for continuing coverage on the shooting. You can get the latest updates from us also on our mobile app and at our website, yourcentralvalley.com.